Welcome back. You're watching Business Morning on Channels Television. You can join ongoing conversations online via Twitter, or you can send us an email on Twitter where, well, that's my handle at CTV Harriet, and at B Boson. We'll be glad to mind your business. Or you can follow at Biz Morning or the bigger brother at Channels TV. We'll be glad to hear from you, especially with regards to conversations on the program today. Now, my next guest is a development consultant, Toyin Olakongpo. She's joining me now on the program to talk about sustainable development goals and national development. It comes at a very timely period for Nigeria, especially as we begin to think about how to reflate the economy and jumpstart those critical sectors as well. Toyin, good morning. Thank you for joining me on the program today.
Good morning, Harriet.
So let's start with knowing what those goals are. The Sustainable Development Goals, there's about 17 of them and 169 targets.
Yes.
So
yes.
Tell us about the goals.
Well, in a nutshell, I will use my 10-year-old daughter's comments on that. They are 17 goals that are going to change the world, as she says. And in terms of Nigeria, they are a guide, like a roadmap for global development. There's nothing, I wouldn't say there's anything new. We shouldn't be afraid of the goals, because a lot of the things that they mention actually tie in with the 2020 vision, national plan for our country. So, you know, it covers poverty, it covers energy, agriculture, housing, power. It covers everything, all the 29 thematic points of our 2020 vision agenda are covered by the Sustainable Development Goals. So
do you think that there's commitment to it? I was hoping we can have a look at those goals on our TV screens, but I'm sure we'll get round to it, so we can have an idea. 17, looking rather ambitious, coming from where we were with the Millennium Development Goals, we were just 8. So we're now having 17. It's ambitious. Do you think that there will be commitment to achieving, that's what we have there, the global goals for sustainable development? Do you think that there will be commitment to achieving these goals, seeing as we're coming from 8 to 17?
Well, again, I mean, I will reiterate that there's no need for us to be scared of these goals, because these are, the goals cover, the goals cover topics and issues that the 2020 plan already covers. Ban Ki-moon, which is the UN Secretary General, came to Nigeria in August and met with all the governors and said that in order for the Sustainable Development Goals to be an agenda for the people, by the people, they needed to be integrated on a national level. They needed to be localized. And so we really need to sit down and find out what are these 169 targets, what are these 17 goals, and align them with the 2020 vision that we have for the nation. And that's what we haven't done. And because we haven't done that, we're seeing the Sustainable Development Goals as something extra or an extra burden for our country, and they're not. They really are there to sort of, it's like an upgrade, I would say, on development for this country. So I think when people are ignorant of something, they are afraid of it. And I don't think nationally as a country we've actually sat down to look at these 169 targets.
So that takes me to my next question, the strategies to try to achieve some of these goals. For instance, let me just, call some of them. The first 5 I have are poverty, food, education, and women, achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls. Do you think we have strategies in place to, for instance, end poverty? Because if you end poverty, I guess you begin to sort the other issues that have come up.
Well, the current administration, the Buhari-Osinbajo team, already have some very robust social welfare programs that they've announced. That involves the school feeding program, that it also involves unemployment or poverty handouts. I think it's a 5,000 naira a month handout. So the social welfare schemes that are already in place, even though they have not specifically entitled them to be SDG mandates, are one of the ways that we're going to end poverty. Another way that poverty can be reduced or eliminated is through education, through education, somebody gets employed. So the SDGs are integrated. We can't just look at one goal, which is, as I said, goal 1 is to end poverty, without looking at goal 4, which is the education mandate, or goal 8, which is the economic growth mandate, which calls for decent work for all and employment for all. So I think, again, there needs to be a national steering committee set up by the government, the federal government, the president himself, which will involve, all the governors, all the key members of the Vision 2020 team, and stakeholders like ourselves, to sit down and say, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to align these goals with what we have on ground already? And I think that's what really needs to be done, because we don't need to reinvent the wheel. And as I said earlier, the Sustainable Development Goals are not taking us away from what we're doing already. So
who should own these goals? The government, the private sector, or civil society organizations?
Ownership is it's a multi-stakeholder ownership, but it has to be led by the federal government. Liberia had a national launch of the Sustainable Development Goals last month, led by the president. We haven't had that. We haven't had an official announcement that Nigeria is ready for the Sustainable Development Goals. We haven't had that. What you've seen is a lot of enthusiasm from civil society on social media, as you well know. Even the private sector is not ready, because they seem to be sort of boiled down with a lot of economic woes at the moment. But we need that impetus. We need that call from the presidency that, look, yes, we're ready. Sustainable Development Goals office is open. He's appointed as special advisor. We're ready. We need that national launch.
Do we need
ceremony.
an office? Do we need an